Okay, it's 5:03 p.m., so I'm going to start the meeting. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for San Francisco International Airport's Shoreline Protection Program EIR Public Scoping Meeting. The purpose of this meeting is to receive public comment concerning the scope of the analysis in the draft EIR for the Shoreline Protection Program. My name is Michael Lee, and I'm the San Francisco Planning Department's Environmental Review Coordinator for this project. Tonight, I'm joined by other representatives from the Planning Department and the project sponsors team.
Good evening, my name is Tanya Shaner, and I'm one of the principal planners with the Planning Department.
Hi, my name is David Kim. I'm a senior environmental planner for the airport, and I'm the project manager for the environmental review for the Shoreline Protection Program.
Please note that this meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the Planning Department's website. A recording will allow us to compile an accurate transcript of tonight's proceedings. The transcript will become part of the public record for the project's CEQA review process. Here's tonight's agenda. First, we'll play a 15-minute video that will provide an overview of the CEQA process and a description of the Shoreline Protection Program. The video will explain how you can comment during different stages of the environmental review process. The video is posted on the Planning Department's website at sfplanning.org/sfceqadocs. After the video, I'll explain how you can comment during this meeting, and then we'll open public comment. First, we'll start with the video. Thank you for viewing the San Francisco Planning Department's scoping meeting presentation for San Francisco International Airport's Shoreline Protection Program. This scoping meeting is an early step in the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA, review process for the proposed project. This step notifies the public that the Planning Department is preparing an Environmental Impact Report, or EIR, and that we welcome your comments concerning the project's environmental impacts by December 28th, 2020. This presentation will briefly describe CEQA, the proposed project, the CEQA schedule for the project, and how you can participate in the CEQA process. In San Francisco, and in compliance with state law, state guidelines, and local requirements, the Planning Department oversees the CEQA process for proposed development projects. The Planning Department is preparing an EIR for SFO's Shoreline Protection Program. The purpose of CEQA is to inform decision makers and the public of the project's potential environmental effects, to engage the public in the environmental review process, to disclose potential project impacts on the environment, and to avoid or reduce impacts through alternatives or mitigation measures. The EIR is prepared prior to any final decision by the Airport Commission to approve or disapprove the project. The EIR, including the associated initial study, will describe the existing environment at the project site and in the vicinity for various environmental topics, such as transportation and circulation, noise, air quality, greenhouse gas emissions, and biological resources. The EIR will then analyze individual project effects as well as cumulative effects, which are the effects of the project in combination with the effects of other projects in the vicinity. Now I'd like to turn the presentation over to SFO's project sponsor team to describe the specifics of the proposed project.
Good evening. My name is David Kim, and I'm a senior environmental planner at the San Francisco International Airport and the project manager for the environmental review for the Shoreline Protection Program. My contact information is shown here. Will also be shown at the end of the presentation. It is also available on the notice of preparation. The project site, the perimeter of the airport, is primarily located in unincorporated San Mateo County, California, approximately 13 miles south of downtown San Francisco. Portions of the airport are within South San Francisco to the north San Bruno to the west, Millbrae to the south, and Burlingame to the southeast. The airport is owned by the City and County of San Francisco and operated by and through the San Francisco Airport Commission. SFO is the largest airport in the San Francisco Bay Area with 58 million annual passengers in 2019 numbers, expected to increase to 71 million annual passengers by 2030. The airport has both international and domestic operations. The airport has 4 terminals comprising of 7 boarding areas. In addition to passenger services, the airport also has 1.5 million square feet of cargo and ground service facility space. SFO is a critical economic engine for the Bay Area with 46,000 on-airport jobs and 188,000 directly related jobs in 2019. On-airport business activity was $10.6 billion in 2019, and we bring in state and local tax revenue of $3.3 billion annually. The airport is at risk from flooding and sea level rise. The figure on the left shows that the airport is on the Federal Emergency Management Agency's preliminary flood insurance rate map. This map shows areas that would be flooded in a 100-year flood event, referred to as special flood hazard areas. Because the airport is in a special flood hazard area, SFO is required to implement the City of San Francisco's flood-resistant construction requirements per the San Francisco Floodplain Management Program. The figure on the right shows the airport under a future 3-foot sea level rise scenario using the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Sea Level Risk Viewer tool. The maps show areas that would be flooded under this likely scenario. Currently, the airport's existing protection from flooding has gaps in the perimeter and is not high enough to protect against a 100-year storm plus future sea level rise. The purpose of the project is to protect the safety of passengers, employees, and other users of the airport property, to maintain SFO as a safe and operable regional transportation hub, and also to be removed from the FEMA flood insurance rate map. Importantly, the project would not change aviation activity forecast, types of aircraft operating at SFO, or the number of aircraft operations. Also, the project does not change or add airfield or airspace capacity. The existing shoreline protection at SFO consists of the following types of protection: concrete walls, vinyl sheet pile walls, rock revetment, and embankment walls. All types do not meet the height requirements to protect against the 100-year storm and sea level rise. You can see a gap in the protection in this vinyl sheet pile wall example. And on the rock revetment photo here, there's no corresponding wall. The existing shoreline protection would be removed as part of this project. The Shoreline Protection Program would protect the 8 miles of shoreline around the airport. The alignment of the Shoreline Protection Program is divided into 16 individual reaches based on shoreline orientation, existing protection types, existing foreshore conditions, and existing landside conditions. Reach 16, shown here in the dotted yellow line, would be along Highway 101. It is included here to show a complete protection system for the airport. However, Reach 16 would only be built if the protection system is unable to connect to neighboring shoreline protection systems in South San Francisco to the north and Millbrae to the south. Thus, it is analyzed here on a programmatic level. The alignment shown here is preliminary and may be refined during the environmental review process. Up to 27.5 acres of open water fill and up to 4.4 acres of wetland fill would result from the project. Bay and wetland fill would be required to conform to Federal Aviation Administration standards for safe aircraft and airport operations. Construction duration is anticipated to be approximately 7 years. The elevation of the protection structures would be designed to meet FEMA height criteria and, in addition, add 36 inches to allow for sea level rise. Thus, the heights of these structures would range in height from approximately 5.2 to 12.1 feet above existing ground level for landside protection, as the elevation of the ground varies from reach to reach. The vast majority of the protection would be sheet pile walls, as shown here. Sheet piles would be driven deep into the ground and topped with a concrete cap. Armor rock revetment would be used in tandem with walls to dissipate wave energy and to prevent sediment scour. For reaches 1 and 15, concrete walls with shallow foundation would be constructed. For reach 7 at the end of runway 19 end, king piles would be constructed in the bay. King piles are a series of preformed steel sheet profiles reinforced and supported by I or H beam steel sections at a defined spacing along the alignment, designed to withstand larger forces. These king piles would extend approximately 26 feet above the bay floor, and the crest would range from approximately 13 to 20 feet above the bay's typical tidal water levels, depending on the phase of the tide. The construction of this reach is necessary to be in the bay due to the proximity of the end of the runways and to conform with FAA safety operational standards. The part of the bay between the king pile and the land will be filled to avoid standing water, which would be a wildlife attractant, which is a critical safety issue. The design of the Shoreline Protection Program will be refined during environmental review. Other elements of the project include reconstruction of stormwater outfalls due to the presence of the new walls, relocation of the vehicle service roads to align with the shoreline protection and to meet FAA safety standards, creation of a roadway along Reach 2, reconstruction of the arrival lighting trestle for runway 1 right, 19 left due to the presence of the king pile. Thank you for your time. Here's my contact information and the contact information for the lead planner. And now I'll turn things over to Michael to finish the presentation.
We are currently soliciting comments on the environmental review process for the project. The notice of preparation is being circulated for 30 days, and the public comment period will end on December 28th, 2020. Comments can address any of the following topics: significant environmental issues, the method and depth of analysis, and alternatives or mitigation measures to reduce environmental impacts. You may also use this opportunity to request that you be notified of future documents or hearings related to the project's environmental review. The current schedule anticipates that the planning department will publish the draft EIR and initial study by fall 2021. To seek input, we'll distribute a notice of availability of the draft EIR to interested parties, and there will be a public hearing before the Planning Commission during a 45-day public comment period on the draft EIR. Following the close of the draft EIR public comment period, we'll prepare a responses to comments document that will address all substantive comments received and also identify any changes to the draft EIR that are necessary to fully respond to comments received. Following publication of the responses to comments document, a hearing will be held before the Planning Commission, during which they will be asked to certify the final EIR, which will consist of the draft EIR and the responses to comments document. We anticipate that the Planning Commission will decide whether to certify the final EIR as adequate, accurate, and objective in summer 2022. Certification of the final EIR does not mean that the project has been approved. It means that the planning department, in preparing the EIR, has complied with the requirements of CEQA. The Airport Commission's decision to approve or disapprove the project is a separate consideration from the adequacy of the EIR and can only occur after the CEQA process has been completed. The Planning Department will replay this presentation at a video and teleconference scoping meeting on December 9th, 2020 at 5 p.m. You may attend the meeting using the video conferencing platform Zoom or by calling 833-548-0282. The meeting ID is 831-0306, 4931. To request assistance in additional languages, please contact Candace Suhu at candace.suhu@sfgov.org or 628-652-7550 at least 72 hours in advance of the meeting. You do not have to attend the scoping meeting to provide comments to the planning department on the environmental analysis for the project. You may also email your comments to michael.j.lee@sfgov.org, call 628-652-7538, or mail your comments to Michael Lee, San Francisco Planning Department, 49 South Van Ness Avenue, Suite 1400, San Francisco, California, 94103. For details on how to access the scoping meeting or more details regarding the project or the notice of preparation, please check online at sfplanning.org/sfsequadocs. Thank you. Hello again. I'm Michael Lee from the Planning Department. Thank you for participating in SFO's Shoreline Protection Program EIR Public Scoping Meeting. You're not required to provide comments tonight. Comments will be accepted until 5 p.m. on December 28th, 2020. Comments can be emailed to me at michael.j.lee@sfgov.org or mailed to me at the San Francisco Planning Department, 49 South Van Ness Avenue, Suite 1400, San Francisco, California, 94103. You can also call and leave a voicemail at 628-652-7538. The goal of this meeting is for us to hear from you so we can shape the CEQA analysis. All comments should be limited to the environmental review process, such as significant environmental issues, method or depth of analysis, suggested alternatives or mitigation measures to avoid or reduce environmental impacts, or requests to stay informed during the environmental review process. If you'd like to discuss the merits of the project, please contact me and I'll direct your comments to the appropriate person. Again, this meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the Planning Department's website. Some participants may be joining us from their homes, so please be patient and use respectful language. Here are the instructions if you'd like to submit comments tonight. If you're joining us online, please use the raise hand function. We'll acknowledge your turn to speak by announcing your online name. If you're joining us by phone, please select *9 to raise your hand, and we'll acknowledge your turn to speak by announcing your area code and the last 3 digits of your phone number. Please state your name for the record. Comments provided tonight are limited to 3 minutes, but you can submit additional comments in writing or via telephone until 5 p.m. on December 28th. I'll provide contact information again at the end of the meeting. So let's hear from our first speaker. Well, I don't see that anyone has raised his or her hand. Oh, there we go. Philip Vitale?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, good evening. This is Philip Vitale, Deputy Director of Capital Projects for the City of South San Francisco. I wanted to thank you for the opportunity to comment on the notice of preparation. We did submit formal written comments. I'd like to note that the City of South San Francisco is committed to working with SFO and the Planning Department to continue to keep the city involved in this ongoing discussions related to mitigation efforts and the CEQA process. Some areas that we wanted to specifically pay attention to would be how these measures relate to our water quality control plant, which is impacted by sea level rise. We have efforts underway to address that. We are also currently exploring sea level rise mitigation efforts with the Army Corps of Engineers. So we'd like to continue to coordinate with planning and SFO on those measures. The letter that we submitted gives more detail on these items, so you can reference that. We just wanted to note that we would like to continue working with the planning department and SFO on these and keep engaged in this process. So thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else who would like to provide comments tonight? We'll give folks a few minutes in case they're having technical difficulties. Okay, I don't see any other raised hands. So hopefully people who would like to speak tonight have been able to figure out the technology to indicate their interest, or you can also send your comments via email, mail, or by voicemail to me. So unless anyone else is interested in speaking tonight, I think we will close the public comment. Okay, thank you for participating in tonight's meeting. Once again, comments will be accepted until 5 p.m. on December 28th, 2020. Comments can be submitted by email, mail, or telephone using the contact information shown on the screen. Let me check one more time. I don't see any raised hands, so I think we will conclude this scoping meeting. Thank you and have a good evening.